The demographic dividend roadmap is talking about the potential we have in Kaduna State to develop and grow our economy, which is leveraging on the young people, the strength of the working class, the working group, so such that Kaduna State will be able to, you know, um, have high number of people that are working and earning in order to, compared to the dependency rates, right? Since we have newborn babies and low people dying, so we have high population, and this population is proposed or projected to increase in the next in the next 4 years, right? In the next 4 years. So as we continue to the next session, we're going to understand in depth about what this document is all about to help us, put together an effective strategy document. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Judge, for that. I believe everyone is in the hall. We can now proceed. So before we went for the tea break, we um we're supposed to have the goodwill messages from our partners and government representative in the hall today. Um, the first on our list for the goodwill message is Lafia program, and that will be taken by Mr. Chana. After that, we will now have the next person.
Okay, okay, okay. Good morning, all. Okay, you are all welcome. Yeah, I will say that let me stand on the existing protocol. So I will say on behalf of Lafia program, I welcome you all, and especially I would like to recognize the presence of Honorable Zubero. Thank you for coming, sir. You are a very good ally. Whenever we call on you, you always make yourself available. And for our government partners, for the directors' presence here, and some of the parastatals that we work with them, like Bureau for Statistics and Budget and Planning in Essential. So I think it was as a result of some pressing issue that he couldn't stay back. But Mr. Ahmed here, we know how we've been working with Bureau for Statistics for a lot of things, not just demographic dividends. We know that in the technical aspect of it, you've been with us. Whenever we need you, you come for us. Whenever you need us, we are there for you. Yeah, so that collaboration has been cordial, and uh, we are happy to see you here again once more. You will provide us with some background and technical expertise because being uh, the department that they've supported the development of having the roadmap in Kaduna State. So we actually appreciated your efforts. So, and to my fellow brothers and sisters in the civic space, especially Mr. Boji, we don't know, I truly don't know how to, well, to appreciate you, but we'll leave that one for another day. I know when we started this stuff, I have to call a whole lot number of them. We started with an orientation. Was it in June? June this year. So I call on them. Mr. Martins was around. Call on him. The person that facilitated it, Professor John La from CASU. So I think it was from there we discovered that there is a huge gap. We actually started this space at the same time with Kano, and Kano has gone far. It left us behind. Kano have institutionalized it and made it a department in BUK. So, and these are things that even we, the youth, we are not even conscious of. We don't even know. We don't even have knowledge of what demography is all about. No proper knowledge, no proper understanding. So, not to talk of sensitization. So, and it make us feel great that we'll partner with you. I know all of you are from diverse backgrounds, diverse professions. So having you all around, I know your contribution, your impact, and your attention to what is going to take place will help us immensely. Don't bother yourself about not knowing the context of the topic, but you discover that this is something that we have around us. It's just that we've not deep dive into it to really understand that it affects me and you, or it will affect our future. So I must say that you are highly welcome, and uh, I'll be glad to see us make that commitment, of which I've already perceived that even from the first engagement we did in the office, just very few number of persons. So hopefully, my expectation is that we should come out with something robust, and we should be intentional about it to see how we have a robust document and advocate more with the presence of our SA here. I know I have some great level of confidence that he will push it for us to see how government can give it a listening ear, because it's a huge gap. It's a very, very huge gap whereby we, the young ones, were, were the tools for destruction in the society that have been productive. So I do hope that we'll have a wonderful moment. So for those of you that don't know me, and for those of you that I don't know you as well, so my name is Chanan Solomon. I work with Lafia FCDO program in Kaduna, and I'm the monitoring, evaluation, and learning coordinator for the program in Kaduna. So for those of you that don't understand what Lafia is all about, it's a system strengthening program, and we work in Kaduna, Kano, Jigawa, Yobe, and Borno State, and Abuja FCT. That's where the headquarters is. So we are basically on system strengthening, health system strengthening, but we are much very flexible. That's why we can reach out to you at every given time. For those of you that are close in age or following up with OGP very well, of which I know you know, we've been partnering with OGP for quite some time. It's part of the mandate that the donors has looked at it that, okay, if PEL that have been working with citizens has exited, so Lafia should be able to fill that gap, even though we are health system strengthening program. So that's why you see us come in when it matters the most. We've supported a lot of things. Their testimony for some of you that you've not been able to be part, I think it's an opportunity for us to mingle and wingle at the same time. Thank you. You're all welcome.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful goodwill message. Moving forward, we'll have initially we have the SA to the Deputy Governor and Andrew Moses took the opening remark. So at this very moment, we would give in to the representative of the Ministry of Youth Development to have their goodwill message for us today.
Good morning, all. As I said earlier, my name is Ali Dunia. I'm a staff of Ministry of Youth Development, Kaduna State. I am the Dex Officer, Registration of Youth Clubs, Associations, and NGO in the ministry. As we all know, the Ministry of Youth Development was created on 11th June this year. It's a baby ministry, honestly. The ministry, the ministry, initially it was a department. It was moving from one ministry to the other. Basically, youth development started in Kaduna State for the past 35 years. And since then, we've been engaging in our activities on promoting the activities of the youth, organizing, collaborating with other MDS organizations in order to promote the well-being of the youth in Kaduna State. We've also been partnering with other international organizations, the Federal Ministry of Youth Development, and other uh, MDS, both within Kaduna as well as at the national. The Honorable Commissioner is supposed to be here because we are having a meeting. That's why, but hopefully she will be here tomorrow. She will join us. And on the issue of the program, this 2-day program that we're here, the Honorable Commissioner is very passionate about it. And because the focus of this program basically is on the youth. In the demographic dividends of 2022 states that there's a 19 years gap between the working population and the dependent population in Kaduna State. So in fact, it was a great concern. So I'm calling on behalf of the Honorable Commissioner, the management and staff of the ministry. My able director is here. We are calling on all of us that are here. Let us contribute for the success of this document in Kaduna State. And let us also contribute immensely for its development and implementation in Kaduna State. I think if this document see the light of the day, it will be for the benefit of Kaduna State Ministry of Youth Development, because that is the ministry that is saddled with the responsibility of taking care of the youth in Kaduna State. As I said earlier, on behalf of the Commissioner, may God be with us up to the end of this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful goodwill message. I, at this very juncture, we will be going to the next item on our agenda. Um, we're going to be having panel discussion on perspective on the Kaduna State Demographic Roadmap, and that will be done by, I called them consultant, and I was told not to use the word consultant. I need to go back okay, I need to retrace back my words. Then I will call on the executive director of Civic Impact for Sustainable Development Foundation to take us through this session and that of the letter.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, well, I know there is Hamatan. And we should off it. Somebody said yes, sir. So please, can we reduce the AC? Because we don't want people sleeping. So I think we can off. Which one should we off? Yes. All right. I had to tell Wanya to stop calling us consultant, because if you know how much consultants make, and every time she say consultant and I remember my account balance, I now have to tell her to calm down. All right. So thank you everyone for traveling all the way from your various locations to be part of these 2 days activities. For this session, we're supposed to do a panel discussion, but this particular agenda is a living thing. And the only thing that happens to living thing is that change affects living things. And you know, even a stone is a living thing, and every other immovable object. So, but what we are going to do, we're supposed to have Planning and Budget Commission as well as Bureau of Statistics to have a conversation around the Kaduna State Demographic Dividends Roadmap. However, for other pressing issues, planning and budget is not here. We only have Bureau of Statistics. So, well, because these are the two leading MDAs that developed the roadmap. The first one in 2017 and this current one in 2024. So before going deep into what the document is and all of the other grammar that will be blowing, it is good to have a background of where we are coming from. They say if you don't know where you're coming from, you cannot understand where you are and you can't predict the future. So it is really important that we know where we are coming from. So we'll quickly give him at least 10 minutes just to give us a background around this document. Then we are done with that session. Then we quickly go to the presentations, which I would be facilitating. So thank you very much. Please let's appreciate the Bureau of Statistics. Thank you.
Do I need to present something or?
Yes, as long as within 10 minutes.
Yes, I think it's.
Okay.
I should be done by 11.
Is that
Let's keep time. I should be done by 11.
Yes.
So, good morning. My name is Ahmed Aminu. I work with the Kaduna State Bureau of Statistics. Thank you, Mr. Koje, for giving me this opportunity. So, yes, again, this is, I hope you can hear me. Do I need the mic? Okay, thank you, sir. So, yes, like Mr. Goja has mentioned, the first document and the roadmap was developed in 2017, and the second one was done in 2024. In this 2024, we came up Kaduna State Bureau of Statistics in the support of LAFIA, along with the planning, along with the National Population Commission, and I think one of the consultants from the council, Dr. Professor La, we developed a two document. The first was the roadmap. The second one was the dividend report. The dividend, what we did in dividend report was we tracked what was developed in 2017 and record some of those achievements through the reporting. So let us give a little background. As at what we did, demographic is all about ability of a system to utilize its teeming population to fully utilize their potential. How is a system in Kaduna State? How are we able to fully utilize the teeming population we have? That is what it simply means. Our ability to make sure the population we have are fully utilized to close to full potential. That is what it simply means. Now we look at there are dimensions to it. You have the economy aspect, the governance, the social and political aspect of it. Now, what we have done is that remember once you heard of demographic, it's all about human beings. Now we look at what is the dynamics of human beings in Kaduna today, as at what we develop in the roadmap. You realize that children under 5 in Kaduna today are 16% of the total population, 16.5%. Roughly, Kaduna has an estimated population of 11 million. How do we plan going forward for in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of hospital, education, agri sector? How are we planning for these children in the future? Now, followed by Kaduna has a population of 83%, 83.8% of Kaduna population today are below the age of what? 40. You can see why they mentioned that that gap has to be bridged. And I'm happy that all of us are here today. 83.88% are below the age of 40. You can see how big that gap is. I'm sure when they are doing the subsequent presentation, you have a proper perspective of what we are saying. Now, what does the dependency ratio look like in Kaduna today? You have 121, the total dependency ratio. How do you get the dependency ratio? Those between the age of 0 to 14 and those at age 65 and above. And what does it look like in Kaduna today? You have 121. What does it mean? For every 100 people in the working age bracket, they have to cater for what? 121 people. Again, the implication is that if you are working and you are catering for more people, it becomes difficult for you to invest. And when there is no investment in every economy, there will not be what? There is no way you can grow. There is no way you can create industries and what? The infrastructure for people to get employed. We need to reduce that. If you look at it, you have the youth dependency ratio is what? 114. Youth dependency ratio is 114. Again, it is very high. Then you have elderly dependency ratio that is what? 7.05. What it means is that you have people that are outside the working bracket. These people are elderly. How robust is your health sector system is to cater for these people? Because at this age, these people need to be cared. This is the age at which they are prone to different diseases. Do we have a robust social system as far as the health sector is concerned to make sure that these people are extended in terms of, let me ask, what is the life expectancy in Nigeria today? Who has an idea? 50, exactly. Thank you, Ogagoje. You can see that 54. Before we used to be around 46, 48. There is an improvement, but we still have a long way to go. And this is where you consider the elderly. Make sure your hospital system is robust enough to see that these people are able to live beyond what is obtainable in the society. So, what are the areas again? In every way, demographic dividend is discussed. The youth are at the center. What it means is that you have a pyramid. You have a pyramid that have a very large base. Now, what it means is that your ability to make sure this pyramid that has a large base, how do you make sure you transit this large base into what? A working population. You cannot do that without a functional healthcare facility. You must reduce your fertility rate. People must know what is the implication. And for people that transit from being the base to a working age, you must make sure you give them the best educational system possible. so that they are able, you are equipping them. Even if they transit and they don't have the rightful education, if they didn't pass through the rightful education, they cannot be employed anywhere. That's why you see the growing youth population offer is an opportunity, but our ability to utilize it is what the key problem is. So this is what we this is what we develop, and I'm sure during the proper presentation, they will do an deep dive analysis for us to get it right. I'm happy the Honorable SA is here. He made mention that political support is key to everything we are doing. So let me end by I there's a quote I normally have from one of the greatest economy, managerial economy, Peter Drucker, who says everything that can be measured can be managed. So no matter how bad it looks for today, if we can measure it, which is the step we have taken to being here today, I think we can manage it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please let's appreciate him. One is that he did a very, very insightful presentation, and more importantly, two, he did my work. So let's appreciate him for using my work too. Okay. All right. So this conversation is a very, very serious conversation. It is more serious than a heart attack, because if you touch the heart, you touch every part of a human life. And that is the implication also with youth. When you don't invest in youth, you are playing with the heart of that society or that nation. And you people represented in this room are actually carrying a heavy burden, because you are expected to pick whatever we are going to discuss between today and tomorrow and not just talk about it, but begin to take action so that the focus of government will be on the heart of the society, so that the society can be healthy, the society can be educated, the society can be empowered, and the society can have the enabling environment to be able to live productive and wealth creating life. Because at the end of the day, if you're productive and you're not creating wealth, all work equals to, right? So this conversation, and I want to ask a simple question. We've talked about demographic dividends, right? So, but what really is demography? Before we come to the dividends, what really is demography? Have we heard of the word? Outside this meeting and all of that, have we heard of the word demography? So, what do you think it means, or what do you know it means? Anyone wants to try? All right. Ladies first.
Good morning once again. I think in plain language, population.
So thank you very much for that plain language definition, right? So do we have on plain language definition after the plain one? The plain one is 100% correct, right? But that's in one word. The unplain one should have attachment to it. So is there anybody that has any knowledge? Yes. Yes, I'm coming back. Okay,
We are talking in a nutshell. In a nutshell, I can say population in relation to age, gender. That's it.
All right. So in a nutshell, It is age and gender. So let's remove the shell from the nut. So can you tell us in the nut what it means, sir? Then we'll come back to you.
Uh, Demographic just simply means like you said population, age, and everything. To me, demographic is a population of people within a particular territory and being grouped into different let me say I would say stages or age or background. So that's just what I have to say. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. So that's in the nut. So you throw the nut, you throw the shell, and you throw the plain and unplain one.
And add attachment. All right. So demography is a word that uh, depicts population divided in different segments in terms of age, in terms of location, in terms of interest, in terms of work, and it could go deeper, adding other things. So if you want to, it is it can be gotten from a way of a statistical manner of segregation. So if like the way the document has been broken down, the population, we have dependency rates, we have the working class, yeah, the working population. So that is a way in this context that it has been broken down. So it can be done in different, depending on what you want to achieve. Yes.
All right. So thank you, everyone. And I think we need to clap for everyone that has um, included it in the shell, in plain and unplain, and the nut, right? So yes. So it is critical that before we engage any um, issue, right? We understand the key concepts around those issues so that it helps us put everything we are going to be discussing into perspective. And thankfully, all of the feedback we've gotten are all correct definition around demography, right? But in itself, it's a study of human population, right? We focus on the size of the population, the age, as well as the distribution of that population, as it is affected by one, fertility, right? The number of mass production. You know, in Nigeria, especially in the north, we have mass production centers in various houses, right? Some call it factory, baby producing factory machine, right? Then also the second one is about mortality, deaths, right? So we also know that because of a lot of other factors, people are dying at a high level. Then we also know that because of so many other factors, migration is happening. But if you look at demographic dividends based on what we are discussing, right, is basically saying with that number of people that you have, how do you translate that number to ensure that collectively you can produce wealth, which in simple terms is economic growth? Because whether we like it or not, everything is determined by economy. Politics is determined by economy. Economy is determined by economy. Our social life is determined by economy. So how can government translate our population into wealth? Some people say it's waste to wealth, but we are not talking of climate change, right? But the truth is that if you don't invest in your population, it becomes a waste, because social unrest is what you get, and a lot of other negative vices that we see in our society. So generally, when we talk about demographic dividends, it's just this quote that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So government as it exists, the only way it can invest in its population is when it has the required data that provides the size of the population, the age structure of the population, and the distribution of the population, so that when they are making investment decisions, they can now say, okay, if this is the age structure of our population, this category of people, what do we need to provide for them? This segment of the population, what do we need to provide for them? And this thing we are discussing here is supposed to be the most important conversation around government documents. After the state development plan, this document should be next, as far as I'm concerned. Because what is the concept of democracy in its true sense? They say majority should have their way, right? Minority should have their say. Oga Ahmed showed us some data around the population of the state. If 83% of the population of Kaduna State are below 40 years, then where do you think government investment should go to? When you open government plan, when you open government policy, when you open government budgets, when you see government services, what are you expected to first see? You're supposed to see that it reflects the expectation and aspiration of this majority. So I just wanted us to set a background around demographic dividend. So that dividend, even in business, the dividend is money you make on top your investment, right? So if you invest in youth, the dividend is what the society in general gets to benefit, including the working age population and the dependent population. So we can move to the next slide so that we keep the time. So in the report, and this is a call to action as far as we are concerned, and I want to read it. It is from the Honorable Commissioner Planning and Budget Commission, Honorable Ahmed Mukhtar, popularly AKA Go, Monrovia. So you know, sun sashi a gaba one time where he was a House of Rep member. So in the document, in the forward, this is what he had to say. As we transition from planning to implementation, I call upon all stakeholders, government institutions, private sector actors, civil society organizations, development partners, and citizens of Kaduna State to join hands in actualizing the vision outlined in this roadmap, which is what we are going to be discussing. Together, we can transform the demographic advantage of our state into a legacy of prosperity, equity, and sustainable development for generations to come. So I think critically, this quote by the Honorable Commissioner reflects why we are gathered here, right? We are moving from just having a beautifully developed or designed document to now taking it away from the shelves to implementation. Bureau of Statistics and Planning and Budget Commission cannot on their own implement this document. The government alone cannot implement this document. So you need every critical stakeholder within the society to be part of developing implementing this document for it to achieve the desired results. The implication of everything we are talking about, when you think of insecurity, right? You think of poverty, you think of unemployment, you think of all the other negative things that is happening to Nigeria. And on one side, we have talked about the youth, right, being the largest population. So it means in the good, who will benefit the more? The youth, right? In the bad, who will suffer the more? The youth. So it means that if the youth don't take a leading role in championing this document, they will end up being the most affected, and negatively so, in terms of the negative factors that this document seeks to address. So that is why I said the youths in this room are actually carrying a burden, because your being here is to reflect the 83% of the population of the state. You're here to put yourself in their shoes and also act in their shoes, because a lot of the youth don't know, and some know but they don't care because they are comfortable at the moment, but they don't know that sometimes comfort is always temporary. Even if you're rich and wealthy today, you can go and die in the hands of kidnapper because another poor man's child did not get the privileges and opportunities that you've gotten. God forbid, an accident can happen at a location that the only facility that can be accessed at that point is a public facility. So before they talk of taking you abroad and all of that, you go there, they will go and give you one expired Panadol that will first hook your neck. Then you understand that everything that happens is interconnected. Let's quickly move to the next one. So we have some faces here. What do we think they have in common? Influence. I like that word. They have influence. Then another word, just one word. What do we think these guys have in common? Yes, sir? But we know all of them. But I can bet not all of you, okay, this thing has told my CV, so I won't ask you. But we know money points, right? So we had influence. Is there another word that can qualify youthfulness? Is there another word? Yeah? You said? And it's true. Let's snap one here and just prevail. But they are going to stand in that game. So what do they have in common? Apart from gender. It's as if all of them have money. Not all of them have money. Who doesn't have money there? Everybody has money now in Nigerian terms. The only thing that will make him know I have money is when he's not corrupt. But if as a lieutenant colonel and you're in the battlefield, you are supposed to come back as a multi-billionaire when you fight such battle as an officer leading troops, because every day they will give you money for logistics, and and, and he's even an armored. He was heading the armored, so the servicing of all those tankers, they must give him money for all of those things, right? So any addition before we move? Yes. Yes. So thank you very much. So is there anyone before we move from this? So in line with all that has been said, right? What they have in common is that actually the youths are the engine room of any society, whether economy, whether social, whether political. Forget the Baba Baba that you see on TV as president and governors, right? Go and check their team. You find out that they are majorly relying on the energy, innovativeness, and ideas of young people to do what they want to do and implement whatever they want to implement. Right? For people that are politicians, if you want to perfect rigging, who do you look for? Why are you laughing? Okay. Oh, and it's true. It's now that my mind is coming to. Huh? So look at when you go on social media, right? If you want to promote yourself, if you need data boys to attack your opponents, who do you look for? If you go to most government offices, you still see that the heads will have elderly people, but you will still see one or two young person in that position. And most of the work, it is the youth that is giving the work. The elders will only have the thinking and the wisdom to give direction. Oh, this is the youth will go and do the work and bring it. You can't you speak English? Did they waste school fees on your head? They will send the youth back. They will go and scribble and do the work, right? So it means that even though the youths are not getting the required recognition and appreciation by society, but society as it is resting on the energy, innovation, ideas, and hard work of young people. So young people are already playing uncelebrated leadership role in various sectors that you can think about. But the question is, why are we still having the challenges we are having around young? That's the question that the dividend needs to ask. Now, as a young person, right? I won't classify Honorable as a youth. We can say he's a young person. Yeah, we're youth at heart. Yes, because National Youth Policy, unless if they've changed it, National Youth Council is from 18 to 29. National 35. Yes. All right. In Kaduna, 18 to 35. Yes, yes. So there could be football age. Yes. Tun da Nance na ga har yanzu akwai wasu da suke. Yeah, yeah. They've even included master's students now. Right? So, but this tells us that there's a lot that we need to realize about the youth. The energy, the ideas we keep putting out, though unappreciated and unrecognized, that's why we think it is irrelevant. It's actually what is driving the nation. If you go to the military, the people in the forefront are 90% youth. So it is the youth that are dying for this country, but they are not celebrated. But the challenge now is that I don't know what's wrong with this. Me, police everywhere I go, I see pot belly. Yeah, don't they recruit youths? Right? I know it's police is one of the institutions where majority you see them, they are a bit elderly and all of that. Although it's because they take more time before they do recruitments, right? And all of that. So if you look at it, the civil society, Saminu Turaki, the governor of Jigawa State, right? How many of us know him? He was the governor of Jigawa in 1999. He became governor at the age of 35. So the story, and Gawan at the age of 29 or 30, right? But that is not the true story. His true story is that you don't wake up one day and become governor, right? You must have made impact from your early 20s before you became governor. So it means that they have led a lot of things, they have done a lot of things that young people that has brought them to this level that they became governor at an early age. When people talk about Buhari and they say he became president, head of state at 44 years, I said that is not the story. At what age did he become governor? Because he was a governor. He became governor when he was less than 35, right? A minister around that age. So, well, no matter how you look at it, it is the youth that still run things. But because we are usually faceless, we are not recognized, and we are not thanked. And the majority of our, okay, let me not use, majority of the people that fall within the youth age, right, are actually more focused on praise singing. Those that are in politics now, a lot of the youths are more focused on praise singing, right? So you tend to feel that is the reflection of the youth population. But there are a lot of youths that are doing remarkable things beyond what is happening on social media. So this is just to help us think that really what we are talking about is already a population that is driving the system. So what do you need to do to that population? Is to ensure that you continue to oil it. It's like engine now. So you must spend money for your engine to continue to give you maximum performance. So demographic dividend is how you invest in that engine that will ensure that your car can continue to take you to the destination you want to go next. I'll be moving a bit fast from here. So Oga Ahmed talked about the definition, so I won't dwell much about the definition of demographic dividends, right? It's basically focusing on our economic growth potential. What can be achieved if you invest in the right segment of the population? So when you have your population structure, where majority of your population structure are within the productive age, as against those ones that are dependent, cannot go out and contribute economically, then you are at an advantage. So what you need to do is to provide all that is needed for that segment of the population to be able to maximally contribute to your economy. And what is it that every human being needs? Number one, you need health. All of us here, if we were sick, nobody would be seated here. We'll be thinking of life, right? So first of all, you even need a healthy youth population before they can become productive and even talk of contributing to the state's economy. Then you also need a population that is educated, that they have the needed skills, right? Quality skills that they can put into productive use. So when they are healthy and you educate them and they have skills to contribute to the labor market, to contribute to the economy, the next thing is to empower them, providing them avenues, either through entrepreneurship or through employment, for them to deploy that skills or that knowledge that they have gotten. Then another thing that is needed is governance, because without governance, you cannot have the right healthcare service system. Without governance, you can't have the right quality of educational system that you need. Without governance, even if you empower the youth, the enabling environment is not available. And one of the critical things that is important about governance is that I said something earlier on. If democracy is the majority having their will, right, then it means that in governance, the majority should also have their say and their way. Because in simple terms, what governance means is decision making. So all those plan, policy, budget, and all of those things, all of that are a product of decision making. So the quality of decision being made is what will determine the quality of how government is delivering services. What we have today as Nigeria and as Kaduna is only a reflection of the quality of decisions that those government make. Nothing more, nothing less. So if we are going to harness the potential contribution that youth can make to the economy, then youth must be involved in the decisions around those areas. One, we must see more young people in position of authority. We must see more youths around policy making processes. We must see more youths involved around the budgeting process. Because if really the youths are in the majority and government is of the people, by the people, and for the people, then it means that when you open any document of government, it should simply reflect the aspiration of young people and youth, because they are the majority. And government of the people, what does it mean in definition of democracy? It means the people should determine who their leaders are. And who are the majority of the people? The youth. So the youth should actually be the ones determining who their leaders are. And those leaders could be from them. And why I showed that picture is that when you look at Gawan, all our leaders, the greatest impact they had was when they were youth. All our military heads of state, I think it was later on from Buhari and Babangida that they were a bit older. The majority of them, greatest impact they made were in their 20s and 30s. So you should do that. Then government by the people, which is the second component of definition of democracy, is that government by the people means all decisions made by government should be informed and influenced by the people, because government exists for the people. So it means every issue or problem that government wants to address should be the issues and problems of the people. And if the youth are the majority in terms of the people, then it means that government decisions should purely be informed and influenced majorly by the youth. Government for the people, right, which is the last component, means that everything government is going to do should be for the benefit of it. So it means the youth that are the majority should actually be the biggest beneficiaries of everything that government is doing. But in terms of demographic dividends, it is basically looking at a situation where you have more of your population are within the working and productive age as against those ones that are dependent, which are children and the elderly. When we go deep into the presentation, you see the age statistic of children and the elderly versus the working age. Next. So by population of Kaduna State, our population is growing at about 3.8%, right? And if you look at it from 1990, we had a 3.9 million population in Kaduna State. And by 2006, when the last census was held, we had about doubled in population. Then by 2023, we had gone more than double to about 10.4 million. Then projected, right, from 2010 to 2012 are all projections because census have not been held, right? So 2023 we are 10.4 and 2012 we are going to be 12 million people. So the question before government is that what would you do with this number? Are you going to leave this number to just be a liability of government, where all government is doing social protection, just giving intervention and all of those things? And most times those interventions never give you the results you want because they are supposed to be just temporary. But when you even government benefits when you have a healthy, educated, and empowered population because it has less burden to cater for the vulnerable and poor and all of those categories of the population. So this is critical. And as of this 2023, by virtue of the Multidimensional Poverty Index survey 2022 by the National Bureau of Statistics, 8.04 million out of these 10.4 million are said to be multidimensionally poor in Kaduna State. So you see the problem. And who is the majority in Kaduna? So it means majority of the youth in Kaduna are multidimensionally, and multidimensional poverty is talking about deprivation, right? You can't get access to education, you can't get access to healthcare, you can't get access to water and other basic amenities or entitlement of citizens, apart from income poverty. So that is why this conversation we're having in this room is very important and very urgent. And we appreciate also the Ministry of Youth Development for being here. Because one of the reasons why we have the ministry here is because Bureau and Planning and Budget did a wonderful work in developing the report and the roadmap. But when we looked at their mandate, they don't have a direct mandate to drive this because their focus is clearly defined on data, statistics, and all of that for the state. So they don't have the latitude to carry out this because demographic dividends roadmap is a multi-sectorial issue. So if you take it to Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Health also has limitations. If you take it to education, they also have limitations because their mandate is restricted to education. The same thing if you take it to internal security and home affairs, their mandate is restricted. If you take it to business innovation and technology, when you're talking about, they are also restricted. But if you look at the Ministry of Youth Development, that is the ministry that the mandate allows it to cater for all youth-related issues across all sectors. So we are bringing the ministry, sir, to start holding you people accountable based on your mandate. That is why for civil society, we had advocate that yes, the roadmap says the office of the deputy governor should coordinate. But the office of the deputy governor does not have the institutional mandate directly to drive that process. So while the office of the deputy governor is doing the coordination, can we see the Ministry of Youth either serving as the secretariat that is driving that, looking at what is happening in health as regards this investment, what is happening in education, what is happening in economic empowerment, what is happening in security and governance? Because their mandate is clear: coordinate all youth-related issues in the state. I wish I had put the mandate so that we see the mandate, but maybe tomorrow we'll look at that mandate and see how this reflects. So basically, this is around Kaduna's population, and there are a number of factors that drive this growth that we are seeing. And we talked about two critical ones, even though they are supposed to be three. One is fertility rate, and two is mortality rate, right? The rate at which people are being given birth to and the rate at which people are dying. So if you're giving birth to people every day, what is happening is that you continue to have mortality, you continue to have more dependents in your society because some people don't even give space. Za ka yaya da kani in ba wasa ba wani 6 months. Ina ga in ba wasa ba ma kwanan nan the rate at which men are becoming angry. I don't know who provoked men, though. Please, do you know who provoked men? Because we are soon going to be seeing Yaya the Kani 3 months. So we need to do a campaign for men. Right? So these are the realities that affect population growth. And that's why when you look at the health issues, which Lafia is also supporting, one of the critical issues in demographic dividends is the issue of child spacing. one of the most important things, because if you don't address your giving birth rate, no matter the investment government is doing, it will always have a larger percentage of population that is dependent. And it means that Eric that is seated here now, if you check his phone, you see his nephews, his nieces, and all of that telling him that they are in school. Or there is this one, Christmas fire hango, and all of that, because they are depending on his own income. And his own income is also catering. So let's assume they are not right. But imagine somebody that has 5 or 10 children, then he has other relations still depending on his income. That means that the person, no matter how much he's making, is living on day by day survival. And he doesn't have money to save, and he doesn't have money to invest. So it means his contribution to the economy is minimal. And by the time he retires or get old, he has not had enough savings or investment to take care of himself. So he now begins to depend. So for example, if as a civil servant, your child can go to a school, an LEA, that has a Dambo standard for free, then your child can go, well, or anybody in your house can go to hospital and get the best quality of healthcare at the lowest amount. Don't you think as a civil servant, the person will have enough money saved and also be able to invest? And let's say government has provided official houses. Before that was how the system was. Government provided government houses to civil servants. Then education was very affordable. Healthcare was very affordable. So even the small money, then the salary that can be between 700, 500, 300 salary. But you find out that people were still living decent lives. But yanzu house rent now depends on yanzu my location is not an issue anymore. A decent house now, somebody that takes some money, you must spend close to 100,000. To ko cubicle din ma. You understand? Yanzu ka shiga asibiti in ba a rabu da kai da 10,000 ba to ka san that day your prayer Allah ya raba ka. Ko chemist ne ma in ka shiga. Right? With the quality of our public school, nobody wants to take his child to any public school. So in kai kokari, maybe ka ce ka kai yaron ka makarantar 30,000 and maybe su biyar ko shida. And your salary, which one 20? So imagine a teacher 72,000. Then possibly if that's the male, then the wife is not working. Then I want a medial job. Then how would you expect them to get accommodation, get good health care, and all of that? And don't forget that 72,000 kafin karshen wata. And again, I know most times in the civil service, zaka ji an kosa yaushe za a biya salary, yaushe za a biya salary. Amma the moment alarm ya shigo, sai ka ga baki ciki ya zo. Because at that point, you remember you have to settle all the debt. And abin da zai zo ya rage maka, then you now begin to think in that direction. So that's why this is very important in terms of child spacing. And I think, Mr. Chana, one of the areas in health we want to also look at is around the issue of child spacing in terms of advocacy. You understand? Then and other areas that we need, because by tomorrow we are going to be doing advocacy tools. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a project too.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So there's a project called Wish Project. So what's the full meaning of wishing? Is it women integrated uh, service, something like Wish Project? So they pull one of our staff from Lafia. He's the one heading that project now. So and that project will be implemented in Kaduna, Kano, Jigawa. It's just that they are just at the introductory stage, inception stage. So it's basically going to strengthen the, the policy development, the system strengthening, and the service delivery for family planning intake, uptake. Yes, so that's child spacing uh, uh, project that is looking at what are the areas whereby government and clients should be able to have common ground. And let me tell you something. You discover that the issue with child spacing, uh, there's a misconception about around it all the way. But yeah, but what the program is trying to do is trying to see how that misconception can be broken and allow people to see how they can utilize the modern way of child spacing in our community. Because having huge number of children and huge number of population, no level of education or productivity is a problem. So sooner or later, hopefully maybe by next year, you'll see that project rolling up. We have connection, Lafia and Wish working together to achieve that across these three states. So it's something that is coming up.
All right. So when we are doing our advocacy mapping, the wish project should be factored into in terms of our stakeholders mapping, so that we are able to see how we can collaborate in that direction, right? So that we look at it. But there are other areas that we want to really see come out of this. So basically, with increased decline in fertility rates as well as mortality rate, what we are going to have is what is called a youth bulge. You have a large population of youth number, and it is now left for government to either determine to translate that youth population into waste or wealth. So, and that is basically what this advocacy that we are doing is all about. Next, help me. All right. So this is the breakdown of the population based on the general household survey. So if you look at the current age structure in Kaduna State, you'll see that under five, children below 5 years are 16.5% of the population. So and this is huge because it's telling us that between these 5 years and the next 10 to 15 years, we have all of this number going to be dependent. So it means that your nieces and your nephews that you're looking at them chuku, 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 chuku on the ground, they are coming for you. So the little money you're gaining now, they will come and start taxing. And thank you, it's Gen Alpha. All right, they know saying when a papa. They will come at you like it is their birthright. All right. So, but the most scary part of it is that majority of our population in Kaduna State are below 17 years. Majority of our population are below 17 years in Kaduna State. And they are from 0 to 17, 0 to 17 years, make up 53.5% of our population. What is the plan of government for this number? So if we're about 10.4, or it would have increased by now, but let's use 2023, 10.4, right? If we remove 53%, what are we looking about? Almost over 6 million, right? Are below this age. Gen Alpha and Gen all of them. So when you look at government policy, right, what do you see? Unfortunately, you see carpentry go, soap making go. Yeah, I pity the system. When these young people are saying that their age mates in other parts of the country. By these 17 years, they are becoming multi-billionaires. The chief software engineer of Money Point just retired at 25 years. He started, he was employed at around 17. He wasn't up to 18 years when Money Point employed him, the chief software engineer. He retired and he's worth about 1.5 or 6 billion naira. And he said he's tired. He just wants to look at other challenges of life. So you have this kind of people. Then we open government policy and we are seeing soap making, carpentry, and all of that. Buying 10 wheelbarrow for all of that, welding, and all of that, right? These are very important skills. We are not denigrating them, right? But the problem is that you said. Mm. Yes, yes. Life expectancy. Yeah. Yeah. Maogasa, sorry, sir. Maogasa, you're protected. You're highly protected. Because he's not just a politician, he's from Sapongeri. So just be careful so that you can go back to Kaduna. Yes, sir. But in summary, sir. In summary, yes.
What we need to do now, you go back to what this youth population actually need, not what the government think they should have. So you have to do that. If you don't do that, you have a problem.
Yes. So by the you were referring to, I'm sure it's not me, it's government. Yes. So government, you have to. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. In summary, sir, so that we just conclude. Yeah. Yeah.
I preach what the youth needs to know. Because if you keep preaching some certain things to them, don't want to hear it. It's only the old people. You will
Yeah.
die, you will do this. No, 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 no. I will tell them you are still young, you will live young, but you have to live a good life. So
Very true.
it's everybody that's concerned, not only the
Yes,
government.
it's all of our business.
It's all
Very
of our
true.
business.
Very true. By the time I want to buy my first iPhone, I don't want anybody to stop me on the road and relay me. So we need to empower all our youths.
So just similarly to what he's saying. Okay. No, I've seen something. I've seen a documentary just recently, in short, just 2 days ago. It's same on Japan. Do you know that once a child enters school at the age of, is it what? Is it 5? 5 years. They subject such a child into responsible for his classmate because it's been believed that when a child is responsible at the tender age, there's a likelihood of the child being productive. So that's what we fail to do. We harbor our child and with the so-called right of what we call child abuse. Yes, I will tell you something. I paid my school fees from JS1 to 3. And that's some of the things that made me who I am today. So shying away from some of those things that okay, you have to do this, so you discover that they have a fundamental issue and they work on that fundamental issue, and it makes them.
Yes. All right. So, Chanan said he paid his school from just one till date. But, during their era, if they want to give you Kamu, they'll close your nose like this and put it so he can survive that era. But with conflicts now and all of that, they can't. So quickly, 53% of our population are below 17, while 18 and above are just 46.5% of the population. But the most important component is 15 to 31, which is where we need to ensure that they are healthy, they are educated, they are empowered, and they are productive so that they can support this population. But we'll come to the landscape for the population where we will see the working age versus the non-working age. Then 83%, 83.8% are less than 40 years in Kaduna State. Then people above 65 are just 3% of the population. So we need to get this segment of the population really engaged so that they can be able to support the other population we have next. So this is about dependency ratio. I won't talk much about it because he talked about it. So dependency age in Kaduna State is looking at 0 to 14 years, as well as 60 years and above. But the working age, official working age, is between 15 to 64. You retire at 65 as civil servant, right? So, but in Kaduna State, the working age that government needs to pay attention to, apart from that 15 to 34, the long range is between 15 to 64 years in that direction. So once you empower them, they can be able to also support the dependent population, but that is not a sustainable way until we are ready to ensure that we control our rate of birth and also our rate of death in that direction. So next, yes, sir. Mm.
Majority of the people that are the working population, most of them, they are they are more than the age of a youth. And you can see in most of the government MDS, you see most of the people change their date of birth, doing one thing, continue staying in the government. While those people that are supposed to be employed so that they can replace those people, they are not employed. So that's another issue that at least is taking the dependency ratio high.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
So thank you very
Yes.
much. But again, the good thing is that government work is no longer as attractive as it used to be. So less people are finding it. If you check, people that do that would have been those at the high level. But the young persons that are working in government now, majority of them, they have their plan B. They are not looking at spending 65 years in government. So they are not interested in reducing, but even that, it affects other sectors. I know the number of people that had to reduce their age just to get work in banks because they were looking for those below 26 years. So these are the dynamics and issues. Next set. So this is what Ahmed explained about the dependency ratio. I won't talk about it. So, but this in terms of the demographic landscape also looks at gender. I know one year will be happy. So he's saying that approximately 49% of women of productive age, which is 15 to 49, have no formal education. So it's already telling you where government needs to also invest in. So it's not just about generic demography, but it's now looking at women that are disadvantaged in that direction. Then out of this number, 76% are married, while 72% have experienced childbirth. So I don't know whether it is the men that are active or the women that are very active. 72% is, if it's exams, you would have passed exams very well. So it means that childbirth is high in Kaduna State for 72% of our population within that age. And this is talking about both married and unmarried part of the population, right? So it's just saying that there needs to be special attention to investing in women when looking at demography. So, but for the breakdown, the age population, those above 65, they are 3% of the population. Youth age, here they did, but this is supposed to be children, because 0 to 14 years are children. They constitute about 59% of the population. So people, children below 15 are almost 49% of our population, while 17 and below are about 53%. So I hope we are recognizing the issue. Then our working age, the productive segment of our society is 48% of our population. So that's why we need to focus on this 48, because they are the ones that will support this 0 to 14 as well as 65 and above. Then the rest talks about the dependency ratio that he had in his slide. Next set. So for the roadmap, this is particularly developed in line with Africa has its own demographic evidence roadmap. Similarly, Nigeria has. So, but you know, because we are also a federation, every state is peculiar. And that's why even for Bureau of Statistics, it is important that every state has a Bureau of Statistics, so that you're not just using national data to plan, but you use your own data that reflects your reality, your context, and all the dynamics in that direction. So what we have here is not a Kaduna innovation. It's more of a domestication of the African, the Nigerian, down to Kaduna State, which is what then is also in line with the development plan of the state, 2024 to 2028, which has been integrated with the sustained agenda of the current administration. So all of that, those are just alignments that it aligns with the SDG, it aligns with the African Union agenda for 2063, the ERGP, which is now gone too soon, and it's then too so rest in peace. It used to be the plan that the Buhari administration had, and now we have a national development plan, I think, under this current administration and the SDG. So the demographic dividend has two critical types. One is that it's looking at the result of the change in the age structure leading to low dependency ratio. This is as a result of reduction in birth, childbirth. Once you reduce childbirth and the children that you have already are moving into the working age, you have less people being dependent in that direction. Then the second part is the ability of that working age population to be able to get enough money and investments that can help them cater for themselves at old age without adding to the dependency ratio in the state. Next. So these are the objectives of the roadmap. Forgive me, I'll be running with this because I've overshot my time and I don't want to be punished by the MC. Since he called me DJ, make a call her MC. Yes. So the broad objective is to ensure that the state harnesses the potential of its youth population in driving the state towards achieving the development objectives. So basically, the key word there is harnessing potential youth population and development initiatives. How do we invest in the population of the youth so that we can harness whatever it is value they can add on the system that will lead to development? So, but the specific objectives are one, to domesticate the Nigerian and the African demographic dividends roadmap, then bring out the areas of action, right? Priority areas that government needs to invest in order to harness the potential that is in youth within the state. Then importantly, NOGP, ensure transparency, accountability, inclusiveness, and participation of young people in decision making and governance of Kaduna State. That's why we have young people here, right? And what we have done is to always say that we don't want youth at 40 or youth at 50. Let's look at seeing how we can work more of youth within the youth age. Because the youth at 40 and 50, they are hijacking the spaces that should naturally be for the youth at youth. You said, you know, it's a youth. Ah, well. That one is a cancerous youth. You know, cancer keeps eating deep and deep, right? So, but we are not saying other young people are not important, but we need to see that those that are likely to be more affected by this issue are actually in the forefront of being the voice in driving it. Then provide conducive environment for rapid, sustainable economic development. Promote a well-educated, skilled, productive, entrepreneurial, and innovative workforce. So if we go to the Ministry for Business Innovation and Technology, what policies do they have that will enable us achieve this? If we go to the Ministry of Education, what policies and programs do they have that would, because all of this, majority of them are tied to one ministry or the other in the state. And that's why with Ministry of Youth here, Bureau of Statistics, Planning and Budget, we want to be seeing what, at least let the ministry be tracking and seeing what is happening so that they can also come up with a report, for example, in collaboration with Bureau of Statistics and say this year, this is investment in youth and this is how government has performed. And even the administration would be happy because you're able to show how the administration is contributing to youth development, youth empowerment, and youth participation. Then develop a healthy, okay, improve access and quality of education at basic, post-basic, and tertiary education. This is Ministry of Education. Develop a healthy population by improving the health and well-being of the people of the state. Ministry of Health. Ensure security and justice by protecting lives and property. Kaza, kaza, kaza. That is internal security and home affairs as well as Ministry of Justice. Then to strengthen service delivery across all sectors and provide basis for developing an implementation and monitoring plan. So thankfully, Lafia has said they are interested in supporting the implementation plan and the monitoring plan so that you have a framework that says this is how this document is going to be fully implemented. And I like what the roadmap has done. For people that have read it, if you go to the annex, right, there's already a framework of this is the pillar, these are the activities that should be carried out, these are the expected outcomes, and these are the MDAs that are supposed to implement. The only thing is that at that point there was no ministry for youth development. So now that they exist, having a framework, it will look at what is, because it is clear the role of the Bureau of Statistics. It is clear the role of the Planning and Budget Commission. So, but you also need to have what really is the role of the Ministry of Youth Development clearly defined. Because Ministry of Youth and Development, by mandate, you have seen our data. It's talking about youth bulge. It's talking about high youth population and all of those things. That is their mandate. That's why they also have a critical role to play. Next. Yes, sir. Mm. Mm.
They are engaging the youth. But unfortunately, there is no data to prove for all those activities they are doing. That, in fact, that really affects the data of youth that are being trained, empowered in Kaduna State. So as you rightly said, if the Ministry of Youth Development can always liaise or track the activities of this MDS to know the activities that they are doing that are related to the youth, I think it can help. It can help in this perspective. Very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the Ministry for Youth, do you work with the social services?
Initially, we are together with the Ministry of Human Services and Social
Okay, yeah,
Development
human services
and Social Development.
because when you say youth are being involved, from what angle is it? From the youth are involved as ad hoc or official engagement? I don't know what you mean
Yes.
by it.
So I think generally it's looking at the interventions in education.
Exactly. In
So
health,
how
in
many
that,
students, for
that's it.
example, are benefiting from
That's it.
whatever intervention government is doing? So the data now.
And there's no specific data for this.
So no, there might be,
Eh,
but what we want to see now is that by the time we reach all these implementation plans,
yes.
all the MDAs will be brought.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Then, if possible, a mechanism will also be developed for your ministry
Exactly.
to be able to track all of the
Exactly.
interventions that go, so that the ministry can come and say in 2025,
Mm.
this is the total number of youths that government has invested in,
Exactly. Exactly.
based on the data we've gotten from all
All the MDS.
MDAs. Ministry of Business, Innovation and Technology, how many youths have you empowered this year? The ministry has the data
Exactly.
and all of that. So you can come up with your own annual report
Exactly.
in collaboration with Bureau
Of
of
statistics.
Statistics. Bureau of Statistics carries out general household survey.
Mm.
There could be questions as a result of the data you're generating that you say, please. I think you people were even in the ministry, you said Bureau of Statistics,
Yes.
right? I saw it on social media and all of that. So those are the things going forward. Because your ministry, I'm sorry to use the word, but sometimes they put you inside armpits. Because we've been trying to track you people in human services where your budget is quiet, nothing is happening and all of that. But we can move to the next slide. So it has some principles and pillars that drive this roadmap, right? The principles are: one, human capital investment, implementation arrangement, financing strategies, communications and outreach, then partnership. These are the principles that this roadmap is built upon. Then the five pillars, these are the areas that government say, in order to harness the demographic dividends of Kaduna State, we need to invest in these five areas. And the state will be more prosperous, and the state will be, development will be more equitable, and development will be accelerated, right? So, number one is governance. Everything rises and falls on governance. If we have the right governance, we'll have the right policies, we'll have the right budget, we'll have the right program implemented, and the right people will benefit. If we don't have good governance, we'll have the wrong policy, we'll have the wrong budgets, and we'll have the wrong people benefiting, and youth problems will continue to multiply. Then education and economic empowerment, focusing on employment and entrepreneurship, education and skills development, health and well-being, security, equity, and justice. These are the five pillars in that direction. So we can move to the next slide. Oh, this is not clear, right? So this is just the focus on what the activities, the investment should be in the pillar. So the first one is good governance, right? Kaduna State, is the youth policy approved, the 2021 to 2025? I know it's developed, but is it approved? Approved, but it is approved. But it is expiring by December 31st without being implemented. So it means that by this time, the policy should have been reviewed. So that by next year, we are entering next year, with the implementation of that policy. Then enhance active participation of young people in governance at all levels, which is part of the conversation that we'll be having. Then evidence-based advocacy briefs for buy-in in the demographic evidence effort. This one is actually what we are doing in this room. The third one is what we are doing in this. So one year, no verse. Yes, sir. I know your time. You know, I'm even calling you, sir, because you look way, look me. All right. So next slide, I'll rush. So for economic empowerment, they are looking at the empowerment of youth for entrepreneurial development, then employment generation for youth development. Next. Then for education, they are looking at increase in access, retention, and completion rates at all levels of education for people, improve the quality of teaching and learning, improve education information management system, improve inclusive access to education, standardize and scale up the family life and HIV education curriculum and delivery of information in secondary school, expand access to quality vocational skills training for young people to enhance their employability, ensure adequate infrastructure at basic, post-basic, and tertiary levels. Next. Health is promote policies and programs to improve child survival, and promote non-discriminatory policy actions to increase access to basic and reproductive health services, support advocacy effort by civil society organizations to advocate and promote adolescent youth program access to sexual reproductive information and services, scale up and strengthen integrated adolescent and youth-friendly health services, resuscitate dilapidated health facilities, use of innovative means such as technology to increase access to sexual reproductive health information and services, promote the well-being of the vulnerable through an effective and efficient PHC service delivery, establish age-appropriate and culturally sensitive comprehensive education on sexual and reproductive health to avert complications and challenges. Next. Security, equity, and justice, protection of lives, and combating all forms of crime through strengthening of justice system and state security agencies, promote the rule of law, and ensure equal access to justice, empower communities by improving their capacity to address conflict, holistic programs and structures to combat substance abuse, um, and gender-based violence, pursue crime and communal crisis-free society in the context of improved. So these are all the plenty grammar. So move to implementation, right? Which is where we have issues. So for the implementation, this is what is envisaged. Implementation responsibility should be housed to the relevant MDAs. So each MDA is responsible for implementing its component because that is their mandate in that direction. Then coordination is placed in the under the office of the deputy governor, which is good. Then support planning and budget commission, which Bureau of Statistics is also a part of, is supposed to provide support. Then each MDA is expected to come up with a work plan of how it will implement its pillar, which is what I we hope Lafia will support to see that that is done. So, but for us, we are doing an advocacy here that it shouldn't just be coordination under the office of the chief governor, but the Ministry of Youth should serve as the secretariat under the coordination mechanism because of its mandate to drive all issues around youth development, youth empowerment, and youth participation. But the first steps to taking this is to ensure that this document is clearly captured in relevant government policy documents. The state development plan, the sector implementation plan, and the medium term in the plan. Then there's the M&E framework, is also very, very important in that implementation component. Yes, sir.
If they want to access funds for that program, I don't know how can they access those funds. Where can they access? Is it from the office of the deputy governor, or where?
Yes, so if you look at all what we have talked about,
Yes.
all of them, if you check the budget of each of these MDAs, that's what they're already implementing. So they will capture it inside their budget of that ministry. So it is their money they will use to implement because that is their mandate, right? So they are not expected to go anywhere to look for money, except if a development partner decides to say, we want to support this sector to implement the component of this, which no development partner will give you that for free.
Exactly.
Unless sai dai ku ci bashi, su ba ku bashi. Yawwa, su zo su rike ku a wuya kuma ku ta biya kuɗin service. Yawwa, so that's basically what it is. But all of it is based on mandate. So they are expected to happen this. Most of them, they're already in the budget. That's why if you look at our advocacy, the first draft of the advocacy strategy, you see that the component we looked at as biggest challenge is all of this is not the MDAs themselves, but with the absence of a coordination mechanism to ensure that when they are doing their budgeting, when they are doing their implementation, akwai wanda yana samun su to ensure cewa sun yi prioritizing abubuwan da zai benefiting demographic dividends. So that is currently absent because I'm developing document din planning and budget ta yi, so planning and budget kuma yanzu cannot move with the document. Why? Because ba su da mandate. Their mandate oversees all the state planning and budgeting process. So it's a bit difficult for them now to drive that purpose, that process. Amma ku da kuna da mandate, for example, you now can use your mandate to go and ensure cewa all of these things. Then you now ensure that the deputy governor has the coordination office is in the know of what is happening, ana ba ta report, ana kiran multi-stakeholders meeting, ana menene, so that ya ensure cewa implementation is online. Yes, sir. Thank you. Next and last go. This one looks very familiar, and the person seems to be in this room. No, I'm tall now. This one is me. See me here. No, this one, maybe this one. And not true. Now when you talk, and I my mind go there. All right. So we believe that together. Seth, can you just quickly open the analysis? I just want to flash it. Then my session is done. We've taken much more time than we should for this session. I apologize for that. Yes. So on Friday there was a town hall meeting where the executive governor presented through the planning and budget, presented the proposed budget for 2026. And one of the things that this current advocacy group did is to see how to ensure that some issues around demographic dividends are given the needed priority in the state budget. And so there were some analysis and all of that. And these are some of the key findings that has it been submitted to Planning and Budget Commission that needs to be submitted for them to consider in the 2026 budget. Said look did the budget presentation, but Our Ogas did not have time for long grammar. So they'll just tell you in 2 minutes, come and submit whatever you want to submit. But I think this is for Planning and Budget Commission. The analysis was conducted, and based on the analysis, you can see youth programs in 2025 budget. This is 2025 budget. Is 1.6%, 1.89% of the total budget. So about 14 billion was set to be youth targeted in the 2025 budget. And I'm sure the Ministry for Youth does not know. So you see how much money that is going around in the name of youth and all of that, right? So in terms of performance, 14.9 billion is what was budgeted. As of the third quarter, in terms of performance, 14.1 billion has been delivered. So, what is the percent? It's almost 90 something percent. So this 14.1% is 4.0% of the total expenditure of the states. So where is all of this money located? That's where this conversation, that's why we're having this session. The ministry needs to know, because that's the only way the government can hit its chest and say, yes, this is what we were able to do with 14 billion naira. But now you can't see. So sometimes government might even be doing very well, but because you don't have anybody to really gather this information and report, people might just say, and just search a 14 billion. You know the way we think now, one will save big money. And I'm sure if they bring Quran and Bible and give everybody here, 90% of the people, the first thought that came to their mind would be talk to right? So, but if you are answering your question, but they provide you the data, you defend yourself. So now these are the things we look at. Then these are set. Can we just go down? I won't read all of this because no, down. So those are the findings. Go down, up a bit, up a bit, up. So we made recommendations. We saw that the Ministry of Youth itself, your total budget is 500 million. Sir, 500 million. No, next year. But that's what the budget document, the draft budget document said. And this budget circular that we saw initially was, I think, 9 million. Yeah, 9 million. 9 million naira. In the budget circular that we got from planning and budget. So, but at least by the time I budget bilateral, it's now 500 million, right? Then I think salary is about 15 million, while overhead is 485 million or so. So, but we are saying that at least take it to one, because of the activities that they need to carry out, looking at the mandate, right? So we know that there are other interventions happening in other areas, right? But there is a component of youth development that is outside education and all of that, that the ministry can actually deliver in promoting youth participation and all of that. So these are some of the, then we're also looking at the development of the policy, for the policy to be reviewed, and that, then the demographic implementation plan, stakeholder sensitization. We're also looking at youth database. There needs to be a database of youth that government is saying they are investing in. We want to know how much is it, where they are, how are they doing with what government is investing. Are we beginning to see return on investment? Let's go down. So this is just introduction. Let's go down. Let's go. So this is all the analysis. Let's go down. So this is go. So this is the breakdown of that 14 billion, the analysis for that 14 billion. How much went to personnel, how much went to overhead, and how much went to capital expenditure. Let's go down. So this looked at the performance of some of the youth related, go down, of some of the youth related investment. So what we did is that there are many. So we checked this year's budget performance as at September. Then for each pillar, we picked one or two of the items and showed what was the performance. So under pillar one, good governance, youth parliament, certain established, it's budgeted 49 million, 00 releases. Then economic empowerment that also talks about training youth and women, 0%. Ministry of Business, Innovation and Technology, provision of skill for youth, 6,600 and 0%. Ministry of Business Innovation, model vocational center, 0%. Ministry of Business Innovation. So we just picked for each of the pillars. So what we want to do is that for each of them, we'll find a document that brings out all of them that are captured in the budget. Then we have an overview. Because if we put it all in this, it will be too bulky. So we just wanted to show that there is need to really invest because of the third quarter, you're not spending this thing. But I thought the question I would get is, we are seeing a lot of 000. Where is the 14.1 billion? So, yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, so those are critical questions that we need to begin to ask and engage on, right? So can we go down to see what? So the youth, go up a bit. No, the table. So for 2026, this is the breakdown of what was allocated to the Ministry of Youth. Under personnel is 15 million. Then under non-debt recurrent expenditure is talking about overhead costs for the ministry is 485 million naira. So our concern is not even allocation. It is cash-backed releases. So that's why when I started this discussion, I said these people seated in this room is burden that is on your head. Because the work is now now we start the work. Because people in the ministry, people in the bureau and all of that cannot do it. Director has his limit. Commissioner has her limit. Or I don't know how it happens. Do you think the commissioner can tell the governor, oh yeah, you direct this money here? It cannot happen. In fact, once governor ya take kaza, the commissioner cannot add extra insubordination. That's how the system is over time, right? So sometimes you need external actors to do the advocacy on your behalf because the governor must listen to the youth. When the youths are the ones saying, this is our money, we want you to release this money for the ministry so that the ministry can empower us. We want you to release this money so that the ministry can organize development programs for us. And it is these youths that are expected to give the ministry and other implementing agencies the visibility they need, that the governor will know that this is a priority. And thank God we have the SA to the governor designated to the office of the deputy governor here with us. And we want to give you a point blank advocacy as clear. Sir, we want your commitment that within now and this you can arrange an advocacy with the deputy governor. That is all we ask here. So let me give you the microphone so that we can hold you accountable after we leave here.
Thank you very much. Without even tying me to it, I think Usman is a living witness. We had a discussion, and I told him categorically clear that as soon as she resumes from her break, we'll walk around that as she resumed today. So throughout this week, I'll be off the office. From here, I'll be going to Abuja. So, but from next week, I'll work out something by God's grace. Thank you very much.
All right. So, sir, I don't know. Akwai space I'm not in Abuja. Anybody going to Abuja, you know what's happening there. Nah, of course. We know why elevation, right? So, because if you look, I don't know whether you were here when I did the last presentation. Yeah. The coordination component is in the office of the deputy. And we said we wanted to have looking at the mandate of the Ministry of Youth because they are the ministry that has mandate all around cutting issues that has to do with youth. Planning and budget, Bureau of Statistics are to play a supporting role. It is clearly defined, but there's no MDA that can help implement the coordination. And so we feel that having that is very, very critical in ensuring that this thing is implemented. So thank you for that commitment. Next week, Monday, by 4:30 a.m., I'll send you my first advocacy ask message. Gentle reminder. Yes. Because I think this is something we can all take forward and have a conversation. And the government has a lot to benefit from this, right? Apart from investing it is most valuable population, right? But when government begins to show commitment to youth development, youth empowerment, and youth participation, I don't think they need to do campaign because the new generation that we have now, they are not tied to any ward chairman or any ward stakeholder, right? They are more of free will people and they are seeing what is happening all over the world. It's the older generation that are going one man in controlling everything, but gradually that going masurike power in their power is being diffused gradually because these youths are not tied to them. I could even disconnect. Yes. You said you want to be liberated. Okay. So, but I hope I'm not the one that will. Don't worry, we'll be cheering you people from behind. Yes, you can do it. Believe in yourself. You can aspire to require, but not like Maguire. So this is the budget document. I just wanted to share this so that we also understand the importance of the conversation that we are having. And we looked at security, all of what are the budget aligned items in that direction. Another thing we would be doing is all of these MDAs will be looking at their policies to see how well their policies reflect this. And we want to do an advocacy to see that the ministry, can we even have like big summits that come and have this serious conversation? Thank God we have SE here, the commissioner. Can we see that kind of synergy that will bring 10,000 youths in one location to have a conversation, right? Around what direction, what policy should government focus on? In view of the youth policy of the state, in view of the demographic dividends roadmap, and that conversation can really happen. We have youth council here, we have the youth assembly of Nigeria, a lot of stakeholders that can come and have this conversation. How are we, in fact, for this conversation, something happened. We're supposed to bring youth in tech because there is a new sector now among the youth that they are doing a lot. But there's another engagement that we are hoping that will help them fully represented here because they are a huge economy on their own. They have the tools for mass communication, mass mobilization, and a lot of strategies around communication. So these are issues that we need to happen. And we have CASU students with disability to see that how do we also include persons with disability in these conversations, right? We have the gender. One year is representing the gender. I think one year inside her dream there must be gender inside. He doesn't miss to talk about gender all the time, right? So we are not just looking at youth, we are also looking at youth that also in rural communities. because there's a difference between youth in the urban area and youth in rural community. Their issues, their challenges are different. So how do we bring all of those voices to the table? So please forgive me for taking too much of the time, but it was also for us to really be on the same page around these issues. From now, we'll just be doing practical work. I think that's what we would be doing. One year, what are we supposed to do next? He's raising his hand before he. Yes. So how many people have comments? Because me, I'm done. And if I take the comments, don't expect answer. The next person will come and answer the comments you've made in case it's a question.
All right. So mine is not a question. Thank you very
So we
much.
have two. Is there any other person that wants to say anything? Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Buji. I was hoping that I'll maybe infuse it in other conversations, but with the line of what you're giving us after your, I just feel it's necessary I say it now. When you're making mention of the issue of budget and sometimes how to monitor them and all that, it's very important that, in fact, to be frank, I'm so excited with the eye opening today. It really gives, like, there's this shift in mentality and how you carry out your activities, even as an individual organization, know what to focus on for effective growth and impact. Why am I saying this? Most times we hold the government. In fact, I've come to realize that majority of the government, I'm speaking from the angle of peace and security, majority of the activities that are being designed, planned, it's an assumption of donor money. Majority is an assumption. Maybe sometimes there is money coming from a project or a donor is in town and stuff like that. So when the money comes, sometimes it doesn't pass through the coffers of the state government. Some do pass through. Some of these donor agencies will just say, okay, we want to empower you to pay the donors, and sorry, we'll pay the vendors, but in the end, an activity has been carried out. That's why it's very key. And even in the ministry, you don't get distracted. You follow each of this. If it's in health, if it's in education, if it's in the peace building, who are those people funding you at the moment? Is your funding coming through the state government, or they are just sponsoring some of your programs? You understand? Because like for the peace and security, you could see not that no, a lot of funding that, in fact, even the UNDP wanted funding, but because of the Peace Commission, Buhaha, they had to suspend a huge funding wanted coming through there. And most times the government will just celebrate it. It's our achievement. Sometimes the counterpart thing, it's our achievement. And so if we don't know how to really capture, we'll end up saying like, yes, so many things are going on, but is it actually through the government's coffers? Is it coming through donor agencies? It's just for us to really put our ear on ground. And this data will be very key, because when these people approach the government, the most time give them open check, what do we do? But when they don't have the understanding of, okay, since this money is coming, let's put it more on the youth. They'll just do it how they feel it's okay. So I feel it's very key for us that when you advocate and when you have an idea that is a project that is ongoing, so that you be specific about what we are requesting for. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you very much for this. So one of the things you would help us do and for everybody is when we are doing our stakeholders mapping, please, all these donor partners that are working within sectors that we know, let's put them as part of our allies or our targets. But mostly they are our allies, right? Because they are also going in that direction. So that by the time we come to engage, because this is a huge plan, by the time they cost this plan is huge. And while it is not to be implemented by development partners, but their support can create the enabling environment and all of that. The government knows most of the support, but they can't just quantify it because under Planning and Budget Commission, there's a donor aid coordination department, right? So all partners, I think monthly or so, come to say this is our priority, this is what we are spending on in that direction. Yes,
Okay, sir.
sir.
No.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
All right, sir. So my my concern is I think these key findings you mentioned a certain amount. I'm trying to track it, but it seems I can't find the location space where you note that. The amount look the allocated amounts for youth 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 specific programs on the budget for 2025, and then we discover that the performance shows nothing, zero from the first quarter down to the third quarter. And then my question is that how do we what do we do to track and know what actually happened to that money or how it's been spent? Because it's something very important we should.
Yes. So the first part of what we are doing is advocacy, right? Once the advocacy, we have the coordination mechanism, which our SA will help us do advocacy to the deputy governor. And I believe the ministry too will need to go and see the deputy governor so that the deputy governor understands that this is not just young people just coming to talk about, but the ministry also is in line with that thinking. That would be first. Secondly, is around developing the implementation plan. So during the development of the implementation plan, there will be components of tracking that will be given to youth-led civil society groups and all of that. So in doing that, there will be a tracking tool. There will be so that when during implementation you can track. Then when you have your evidence, then you use the findings. That findings you come up with your advocacy ask, right? Then you now do more advocacy for releases. So after the first and second quarter, you see zero. You now carry your analysis and begin to go to Planning and Budget Commission, Ministry of Finance. You go and meet the coordinating office, which is the office of the deputy governor and all of that. And we too will be doing advocacy because we say in the coordination mechanism, deputy governor make our desk officer for them so that we know that if he's a guy, he will follow the team for us, right? And do all of those processes. So that's how we intend to do. But for now, let's have a framework that will enable us track. Then when we track, then we get evidence for doing continuous advocacy. So we'll get there. Now, this poor performance is because nobody is talking about it. Nobody is tracking it. Nobody is pushing for it. But now with what we have now, we'll now start pushing and advocating in that direction. So I'll give His Excellency, our future governor, Your Excellency, sir. The only Excellency, my Ashugo. Yes, sir. Sai ka yi sau biyar na tafi rabi. Sai ka yi sau biyar. All right, sir. You wanted to say you want. No, just wait. All right. All right. So quickly we'll move. Wania, do we have an icebreaker? So give us an icebreaker before the next session is done. Then we can move from there as fast as possible. Huh? You had a comment. In how many seconds?
Just 1 second, sir.
All right.
Yes, you actually point out one critical area that I had interest in. And thank God that one of the staff in the Ministry of Development is here. Yes, sir, before I delve into what I have here, sir, I know it's a new ministry. Has the ministry developed a framework of its own activities? Is there a documented framework that guides the activities of the ministry, or where you people are able to specify some of the things you people will be doing? All right, thank you very much, because you actually raised a very fundamental point that I want to, because I think day before yesterday, I was doing a research on that area. And like we in Youth Assembly of Nigeria, we've actually, guess what we initiated is called Kaduna State Youth Mission Agenda 2027. And one of our findings is that Kaduna State is the only state in, let me use northern part of Nigeria that does not have a program that actually bring young people together. The largest program that the state government program that bring young people together, it doesn't. And of a recent, my counterpart from other side, like Lagos state government, in conjunction, I think the Ministry of Development in Lagos State actually went for, I think, a courtesy, or let me say, in Canada, Federal Ministry of Development. And what they do is that they actually leverage on this youth body. You understand? And like the way you always says that if only the Ministry of Youth Development can leverage on the influence and then the majority of the young people, they can actually achieve what they want to achieve. But most often, when we say we want to actually engage with them, they don't want to engage with us. But they don't know that we can actually help them in to achieve what they want to achieve. So on that, we look forward, sir. Like the thing is that we look forward to see a program that will bring young people across board to discuss about the future of Kaduna State, largest youth program that, and we want that to be conducted by the state government because that with that will show the commitment of the state government. Because if people say that we are the integral part of every society, then we look forward to that. Thank you very much.
We look forward to that, not backwards. Yes. So we're supposed to finish round of this session. So I'll give the mic to the two people that have raised because this is extra time. Nigeria went out of the World Cup because of going to extra time. So we don't want to go. Yes. So please, if we can summarize in one minute, so that we quickly move to the next session, so that we don't drag the meeting into the evenings and all of that. Thank you.
So me,
5
me,
p.m.
I just want to ask him regarding the question he asked whether the ministry has a framework. Yes. Was the Ministry of Youth and Support, do you have the SIP, the sector implementation plan? Were you people involved in it? Okay.
Sorry, come again with
Yes,
that statement.
I say it may interest you to note that since 2016 we don't have budget. Exactly. Since 2016, no budget.
So in short, what he's saying is that since 2016, we don't have Ministry of Youth or Department of Youth. It's only on paper. Because if you don't have money, you don't have your mandate cannot do anything. So thank you very much for that. And just to say that I think their own SIP will be under social development. Yes. So I think those are the conversations that we need to take forward going forward. So Wanya, as he said, I look forward to giving you the microphone. So take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful presentation. Indeed, he has done justice to the whole demographic dividend concept and also the reality of Kaduna State. Um, the question the Youth Council asked Youth Assembly asked was indeed a valid question because looking at the performance that of Youth Parliament is reading zero. If we had or if we're having a Youth Parliament, I believe that would have created a forum where young people can come up, share their ideas, and also look at how they can contribute to governance. Like there is this interesting code I added to an article that I shared recently. It's by, Franklin I don't know if the name is Roosevelt or Roosevelt. He used to be a Democratic president. He said we cannot always build the future for our youth. We can build our youth for the future, and I think that is very important. And I wish that the government representative here could use the lessons learned from this conversation to see how we can shape the space for the young persons so that they can come in and really engage and provide their own contributions. When you invest in the right demography, it shows that your economic is being invested in for the future. We're looking at sustainability. Mr. Eric spoke about donor funding of youth activity. So are we saying that except foreign funds comes into the states and that's when we can have youth empowerment and programs? Can't the state initiate something that is fund single-handedly aside those other initiatives that we have? I think it will help us a lot. And it is now back to us, the young persons. What do we see the government doing that we appreciate. Recently, we are commending certain ministries, right? MDAs, right? For performance and the rest on Facebook. We are now trying to come up with a word for them. But beyond that, what are these MDAs contributing single-handedly to the development of the young persons? Or is it a social media engagement? So I think it's a call for us to really look deep into the youth space and see what we can come up with at the end of the day. That was a wonderful presentation by Mr. Boji. And already the next item on our agenda, we've started preparing for it already. But before we go on, my DJ left. I don't know how we're going to coordinate, but we the government partners will pardon us. We have a way of expressing ourselves, but we are not trying to do the otherwise. So we want to have one of our young person here that has a song he made. The song is "We Don't Wise." So we want to use that song to really bring back the energy. We are doing it the young person's way, sir. So the government partners open, have it listen to us with an open heart and pick one or two things. So I don't let me get the DJ that will help us do the sounding for that track. And Mr. GCAI is the person that will take up the stage now while we finalize for the second session. Please let us appreciate you.
So, all right. While the DJ comes, yes, while the DJ comes, let me just oh, are you connected? So I'll just do the verse. I would have loved us to have it in a very unique way. Yeah, so this is actually a song that was inspired by, the drive from the youth demography on the areas of election, politics, and governance. I saw how young people are beginning to come up, beginning to rise and stand up to the task, right? It's not just about getting a PVC. It's not just about, paparazzi around with voters card and all of that. It's about engaging and actually being around during elections, after elections, and what have you. Yes. So network. All right. So yeah. So we're going to have a performance that is more of a listening session, right? Is it? And I want us so pay attention to the wordings of the song. Yeah. So we don't wise so research no be yesterday, we don't wise so we no fit to sell a vote again, we don't wise so no more faking promises, we don't wise so we don't wise so see we don't wise so story change no be yesterday, we don't wise so we no fit to sell a vote again, we don't wise so No more faking promises, we don't wise up. Omo, we don't wise up. I don't dey vex. If you touch me, I feel to grace. I want matter there for my chest. This real life is feel the press. How Pharaoh go just one you 4 years just the track. Them chop the banana, sell the stuff, come give us just the bag. Them say me could give out mandates. Them carry am go give bandits. If you talk, now you be the culprits. They go say make you keep that convicts. Politicians tell me why. After we vote, you make this fine. You go lock up just the oppressors next election, then you go smile. See dollar is just a rise. The economy is just a die. The giants where we know for this Africa say we don't buy. Now we be the change. But now we still there for the bench. See resources, darling, choke for this country. What is your challenge? Get the pot, we see the import, all the things we need to get the comfort. It's just they said before it switch past day. They don't they use us, see us finish, come they don't pause. This one not be like Game of Thrones, so no come the wine. We don't wise, so no riches, no be yesterday, we don't wise, so they no please sell the votes again, we don't wise, so no more faking promises, we don't wise, so more we don't wise, so see more we don't wise. So riches, no be yesterday, we don't wise. We no fit sell the votes again, we don't wise. No more faking promises, we don't wise. More we don't wise. See more we don't wise. They'll be like, you never see at all. Even to banking hall, security see them all involved. Uh, VPR, zap yeah, to zap yeah, to say it, yeah. Uh, yeah, we don't wise. Story change no be yesterday, we don't wise. We no fit to sell a vote again, we don't wise. Thank you very much. So I hand over. Say? Yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on Boomplay. Just type GCAI space we don't wise, you find it.
So indeed, we are rising up every day as one person, and I think that is awesome. That was a great song. It's just to shift our mind from the heavy load of John we just received as we move to the next section. So at this very point, I would like to now deliver the mic to my able colleague, Mojo. I'm always talking about equality and inclusion. So today we have Mr. Usman. We will now conclude on today's agenda.
Thank you, Wania. We are wise indeed. The just performance gave me more morale and it will remind me of where we are and where we are heading. Indeed, we are wise. So, without much wasting of our time, we are going to the next agenda, which is going to be a group work. And our boss, we have already been using his time since. So he said he's going to replace his time with our time. So, una no, so sir, Danjuma Abbas Kapeld Saint Luke from the OGP and Hassan John from the Youth Assembly. They are going to take us because we have been learning about this advocacy. So they are going to with the group section to give a strategized framework of how we can accelerate this work. So this group are going to work together and they will give us presentation about it. So in the meantime, I will hand over the entire platform or stage to them. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Malam Usman. Usman, Mature, oh? I told you not understand after that's why I was asking those questions. Okay, yes. So whatever happens here would have come from what you see around the what it is around the roots and to what the trunk is transmitting to branches. So around the focal problem here, what the problem is that young people have identified is weak coordination. We have a roadmap. It has been reviewed for the second time. The first roadmap was not implemented to a significant degree, right? And then now we now have a review. And while this document exists, there is nobody really taking responsibility around its implementation. That looks like what the problem is for us, right? So, but what are those root causes? What are the root causes to this particular problem? And if you, that is what you are going to be addressing there. And then you will come back to identify the effects, the consequences of this problem. And usually for me, the consequences of this problem is what we usually use to call the attention of people who need to know that we need to solve this problem, right? Most of the time, when you talk about a problem and people cannot see its effects, they cannot relate to its consequences, it's as if it's just a problem for you and it doesn't concern them. Is that so? But the moment you are able to um, bring in those effects, those consequences that relates to them, that hits them directly, you get feedback, you get response. For instance, you may not know it, but you'll be shocked that if you took up a course around saying that, oh, as a result of this, deviance, drug abuse, and all of this is actually prevalent, you'll be shocked that somebody high up there will be taking interest in that. And you know why? Because perhaps in his own household, he has somebody in that situation. You get the point? So most of the time, these effects, sometimes people say, no, forget about the effects, let's look at the main problem. I'm actually trying to tell you that after identifying the root causes, and then you identify which root cause that you want to really solve that can have cascading effects on the other root causes that there are, you might actually get to the point where you have to relate that if we address this root cause, we deal with this problem and we can negate this particular effect. And people can really, at that point in time, relate with whatever it is you are saying. So that is one of the things that we're also going to be doing as a first part of our group work. At this point, I want to know if you have questions. Have I confused you? Have I? No confusion. You are sure? Eh? Okay, great. Yes, there. Yes. Okay. Okay. So, John, help me answer her question about how do you differentiate problems, the main problem and causes.
The main problem and causes.
Mm.
I wanted to even ask you the same,
Okay.
but then yes, sir.
You are moderating this with me.
Yes, I am, sir.
So let me
Yeah,
move the, but you can make an attempt.
all right.
What do you understand?
Okay. Me, from my own perspective, I look at the effect as the outcome. But then when we talk about the problem, uh, I where should I even put it now, sir? Because they are related something. You can pass the mic. Let me.
Good. Yes, yes. Kumako? Uh-huh. Let's hear you.
I want to give an example with hunger. the cause of hunger might be you don't have money to buy food. And then the main problem will be that you're hungry. And then the effect will be that you're looking malnourished. So I don't know if that makes any sense. You don't have money to buy food. Then you're hungry, which is the main problem. But the cause is because you don't have food. And the effect will show that you're looking malnourished or you're looking weak. So somehow,
Thank you very
I
much.
don't know.
You have said something. Let me even. The problem is hunger. The person has the resources, he has the money, but he has prioritized to go and buy data, instead of food. There is even the fact that somebody is hungry not because of money. Again, there is also the fact that the person has refused to grow his food, even when he has, even when that is the popular thing happening around. There are instances that people have grown the food, but they sell it in season and refuse to store. So I'm increasing more of those courses for you. Anybody wants to give us another example, if in case this is not clear? Okay.
So I I want to believe that the causes of so can you move? All right, thank you. So the causes usually are what give room for problem, and then the problem is usually the results. The fruits, I mean, from that's the effect is usually the result of the problem. So another example that I would give is, let's say, malaria. So the cause of malaria in itself is, I mean, the plasmodium parasite. But then the problem is the mosquito that carries it. And then the effect is the malaria that the person gets. So I feel like that's how it is.
Thank you. Wanya, do you need more examples? It's okay. Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm sure you also did it for the benefit of everyone. So the people from ministry, you will stay seated. The media team, please stay seated. All other persons, please be on your feet. Who is not in this hall? They are all in the hall. Everybody is here, I suppose. Who is that? Okay, Eric. Okay, okay. Patience, let me see you standing where you are supposed to stand. Usman, let me see you stand where you are supposed to stand. You can even sit down, but I know you will be in one of the groups. So we'll take numbers. We want you in just two groups. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's start from you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, thank you. So group one go to that point, and group two will go to that point. Please sit down. Now sit down. No, sit down. We've just done the grouping. So after this, you will now identify all of these courses that you're looking at. You will identify the people who can decide on that matter. The people who you need to get their buy-in for these things to change, right? And then you will also look at the people whose support you would require for you to achieve this thing that you want to see change. Are you together? And then subsequently, we'll do the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis. SWOT go. And just to say, your strength is dependent on who or what as an individual. Your strength is dependent on what or who. Yes. Okay, biologically. Okay, yes. Biologically, spiritually, all of that. Okay. But it is you that will do the worship now. Eh? Okay, what does your strength? Who does your strength depend on? Or what does your strength depend on? Is it anything about your environment, or is it about? Eh? Okay, and all of it still returns back to you, right? So just what I'm saying is that your strength is dependent on yourself, like it's internal. That is what is about you, right? So also your weakness. But when you consider opportunities and threats, all of those now are external factors. They are factors around you. Because if you say who you worship, what's that your name again? Zicham. There is a boy name. My name is called Ziacham. So that's why I don't want to be giving you a name that is not yours. So if you talk about who you want to worship, it's your own decision. Is that you have the right not to, right? But opportunities and threats are just what is around you, but your weaknesses and strength is what is within. And so, what is within your organization? What is within this network that you are building or that you have built now? What is its strength? What is its weakness? What do you have out there that provides you leverage? What do you have out there that can undermine your efforts, right? So you categorize it accordingly into weaknesses or strength. So that said, please you break into your groups, and my bosses, I know Seth will choose a group to be in, and John will also be in one of the groups, and I will be a roving ranger, seeing what you are doing on this side and what you are achieving on the other side. And I'm sure you will have sticky notes in every of your group. Please, you have sticky notes to write what you think, and please place it accordingly. But while we're at it, I think it's time for prayer. Am I correct? So we will go out to pray, and after prayer, come back and commence this group activity. And hopefully, in the process of time, they will tell us lunch is ready. And then the tickets comes and we break again for lunch and come back and finish up. And at the end of it all, the panel of elders that have not been sent into groups will now begin to give you some wise nuggets, go, and advise you on what they are not seeing and what they think you should have factored. Is that okay? So thank you so much. Let's see you back in this hall after prayers. Oh, how many minutes is prayer? 15 minutes? 15 minutes? All right. Honorable, 15 minutes is okay? All right, then let's see you in 15 minutes. What time is 15 minutes? Yeah, yes, so that they acclimatize to the workings before they